The wait is finally over. You've been in a season where it felt like time was standing still. You've prayed, you've hoped, you've worked, and you've waited. And for a long time, it seemed as though nothing was moving, nothing was breaking, and nothing was coming together. But I came to tell you tonight, the wait is over. What you've been believing for, what you've been sowing for, what you've been crying for, God has aligned it, and it is coming into your life in a way that will make every day of waiting worth it. Sometimes the hardest thing you will ever do in your life is wait. Waiting is not easy. Waiting is not glamorous. Waiting is not something we like to brag about. We don't take pictures and post about waiting. We don't celebrate the process of waiting. We want the arrival. We want the fulfillment. We want the outcome. But I need you to understand something tonight. Waiting is not wasted. Every tear you cried, every lonely night you endured, every prayer you whispered into the silence of your room, none of it was wasted. Heaven heard every word. God counted every tear. And while you thought you were in the shadows, God was working in the unseen. Waiting is not punishment. Waiting is preparation. God is not holding back blessings from you. He is preparing blessings for you, and He is preparing you for the blessings. Because here's the truth: you cannot receive certain promises until you have been shaped, strengthened, and seasoned to carry them. If God gave you everything you asked for the moment you prayed for it, some of it would crush you. Some of it would overwhelm you. Some of it would slip through your fingers because you wouldn't be ready to hold it. But waiting makes you ready. Waiting develops you. Waiting fortifies your faith. Think about it. When a farmer plants a seed in the soil, he doesn't come back the next day expecting a harvest. He knows there's a process beneath the ground that he cannot see. He waters the soil, he tends to the field, but he has to wait. And while he is waiting, something is happening in the dark. Roots are forming. Life is being established. Growth is taking place underground before it ever breaks the surface. That is what your waiting season has been. You thought nothing was happening, but roots were growing. God was establishing you, anchoring you, building a foundation so strong that when the promise does spring forth, it will not wither under the weight of life. The enemy wants you to think that waiting means forgotten. He wants to whisper in your ear, if God really loved you, He would have answered by now. If God really cared, He wouldn't have left you here. But the devil is a liar. Waiting is not abandonment. Waiting is evidence that God is too intentional to rush your destiny. He knows the right time, the right place, the right people, and the right circumstances. And when everything aligns, He will release into your life what no man can stop. While you were waiting, He was teaching you patience. While you were waiting, He was teaching you endurance. While you were waiting, He was teaching you how to trust Him when you couldn't trace Him. And the beauty of waiting is this: it strips you of self-reliance and pushes you to lean completely on Him. Some of you didn't know you could pray like that until you had to wait. Some of you didn't know you could fight through discouragement until you had to wait. Some of you didn't know you could still worship when everything looked silent until you had to wait. Waiting has been building something in you that success cannot teach. Waiting has been building character. Waiting has been building resilience. Waiting has been shaping your perspective so that when the blessing comes, you don't idolize the gift, but honor the giver. Because you know what it's like to go without. You will never take it for granted when God provides. Because you know what it's like to be lonely. You will cherish the one he sends into your life. Because you know what it's like to pray through the midnight hour. You will treasure the dawn when it finally breaks. So tonight, I want you to shift your perspective. Stop despising the waiting. Stop resenting the process. Waiting was not wasted. It was the womb of your breakthrough. You are coming out of this season stronger, wiser, and ready to carry what's been promised to you. The waiting may have been long, but the fulfillment will be sweet. And when it comes, you'll realize it was worth every second. The waiting season was never wasted. It was working. It was building. It was preparing. And now the wait is finally over. All right, let's expand key point 2 and I. Your success opened the door for what you prayed for into a full 60-50 word segment in the same flowing. Live delivery style. There comes a time in your life when you begin to realize that every ounce of discipline, every ounce of perseverance, every ounce of endurance you've poured into your journey has not been in vain. You see, success doesn't just show up one morning and knock politely at your door. It is built. It is carved out of long nights, early mornings, and moments when you wanted to quit, but something inside of you said, hold on just a little longer. And what you didn't even know is that your success was unlocking doors you couldn't even see. You thought you were just working that job, showing up, doing your best. But what you were really doing was proving to yourself and to heaven that you could be trusted with more. Success is never random. It is a signal. It signals to the atmosphere that you're ready for the next level. It signals to the promise of God that the soil is fertile for manifestation. And it signals to the very prayers you prayed years ago that the time is near. You prayed for companionship, but it wasn't until you developed self-worth that you were prepared for it. You prayed for love, but it wasn't until you succeeded at loving yourself that you were ready to receive it. You prayed for someone who would stand by your side, but it wasn't until you learned how to stand on your own that the door began to open. Success doesn't just mean money in the bank or a new promotion. Real success is wholeness. Real success is stability. Real success is when you've walked through the fire and refused to come out smelling like smoke. When you succeed, you change your spiritual position. You no longer stand in the posture of begging. You stand in the posture of receiving. You begin to attract what aligns with who you've become. That's why some people walked out of your life. They were aligned with the old you, not the you that has emerged. That's why some doors shut, because the new season required new keys. But as you kept building, kept striving, kept believing, you were aligning yourself with the very thing you prayed for. And now the door is swinging wide. Don't miss this. Success is not about proving your doubters wrong. It's about proving your purpose right. Every step forward has been heaven's way of saying, you're getting closer. Keep walking. And now your prayers have found the bridge they needed, your growth. Because your growth is what allows you to step into what you once only dreamed of. God does not waste answered prayers on unprepared vessels. That's why some of you have felt delayed. It wasn't denial, it was development. Look at your life right now. You may not even feel like you've made it yet, but if you pause for a moment and compare yourself to who you used to be, you'll realize you've succeeded in ways that can't be measured by titles or trophies. You've succeeded in breaking cycles. You've succeeded in surviving what should have destroyed you. You've succeeded in refusing to settle for less than what God promised you. And that success has unlocked something in the spirit realm that is calling forth what belongs to you. That's why the soulmate is coming. That's why the partnership you've prayed for is approaching. That's why the love you've longed for is drawing near, because success has opened the door. The door was locked before, not because God didn't want you to have it, but because He didn't want you to lose it once it arrived. Now the door is open, not because of luck, not because of chance, but because your faithfulness, your resilience, your perseverance has brought you to this moment. So don't question it when it shows up. Don't sabotage it by thinking you're not worthy. Don't shrink back into who you used to be. Step boldly, because your success has already paved the way. Everything you prayed for has been waiting for this moment, waiting for you to cross this threshold, waiting for you to mature into the version of yourself that could handle it. Your success opened the door. And now what you prayed for is about to walk through it. And all right, let's expand key point 30. A soulmate is not just a partner, but a destiny connection, into a full 650 word segment with that live delivery flowing energy. There is something you need to understand when I say a soulmate is coming. I'm not just talking about someone to keep you company on a rainy day. I'm not just talking about somebody to take cute pictures with, or somebody who can finish your sentences. No, this goes deeper than romance, deeper than chemistry, deeper than butterflies in your stomach. A true soulmate is a destiny connection. They are an assignment wrapped in flesh. They are purpose with a heartbeat. You see, God never sends people into your life without attaching them to a purpose. And a soulmate is not just about love, they are about alignment. They step into your life not just to make you smile, but to push you into the fullness of who you are called to be. That's why you couldn't settle for just anybody. That's why the casual connections didn't last. That's why the relationships that looked good on paper still fell apart because they weren't designed to connect with your destiny. Destiny connections have a different weight to them. When they speak into your life, something shifts inside of you. When they walk into the room, the atmosphere changes. When they pray for you, chains start breaking. When they encourage you, something in you awakens that you didn't even know was asleep. That's not just love. That's partnership on a divine level. That's purpose recognizing purpose. And here's the beauty of its destiny connections. Don't compete with your calling. They complement it. They don't dim your light. They help it shine brighter. They don't hold you back. They pull you forward. They don't just love the parts of you that are easy. They cover the parts of you that are broken and still believe in the future you're becoming. That's why you've had to wait, because God wasn't just sending you a partner. He was sending you alignment. You may have been asking yourself, why has it taken so long? Why didn't it work out with them? Why have I been left standing alone? Because God is too intentional to let you build your destiny on the wrong foundation. He knows you can't afford to be connected to someone who doesn't see the vision He's placed in your life. He knows that if you tie yourself to the wrong spirit, you'll waste years trying to explain what should already be understood. But when that soulmate arrives, they won't need you to prove who you are. They'll already recognize it. They won't try to shrink you. They'll celebrate you. They won't just walk beside you. They'll walk with you into the very places you've prayed to go. A destiny connection doesn't add baggage. They bring confirmation. They don't create chaos. They bring peace. And when they show up, you'll finally understand why every other connection had to fail. Some of you have been crying because of who left, but I came to tell you what left was not assigned to your destiny. You didn't lose, you were preserved. You were being saved for the one who carries the oil that matches your calling. You were being set aside for the one whose presence will multiply, not divide. You were being protected so that when your soulmate shows up, you'll have the capacity to recognize them for what they are, a divine answer, not just a human desire. That's why I need you to lift your head and prepare your heart, because what's on the way is bigger than romance. It's partnership for purpose. It's companionship with covenant. It's not just somebody who wants you. It's somebody who's been assigned to you. And when they come, you will know. You won't have to force it. You won't have to beg for it. You won't have to prove yourself. It will flow, because destiny always flows. And when it happens, you'll realize this is not just a person I prayed for. This is the connection I was created for. All right, let's expand key point 40. Preparation is prove you're ready for the blessing, into a 6 and 50 word flowing segment, building naturally on the last point. One of the greatest misunderstandings people have is that when the blessing arrives, that's when you prepare. No. The preparation is the proof you are ready for the blessing. If you're waiting for the door to open before you start getting ready, you've already missed the point. The way God works is that he looks at how you prepare in private to determine if you can handle the blessing in public. You see, when you've been praying for a soulmate, for a destiny connection, for that person who is more than just a partner, but a purpose partner, the question isn't, are they ready for me? The real question is, am I ready for them? Because God will not send you something you're not prepared to sustain. He won't put greatness in your hand if you're still treating it like it's common. He won't send you a king if you're still stuck in a servant's mindset. He won't give you a queen if you're still moving like you're living beneath your worth. Preparation is the proof that your faith isn't just in what you say, but in what you do. Think about it. If you knew the most important guest you had ever prayed for was about to walk into your home, you wouldn't leave the place a mess. You wouldn't wait until they knocked on the door to start cleaning up. No, you'd get the house in order ahead of time. You'd sweep, you'd straighten, you'd set the atmosphere. And the same principle is true in your life. Before God sends your soulmate, he's asking you to clean up the places in you that can't handle the weight of what's coming. Preparation looks like healing old wounds so you don't bleed on the person God is sending to love you. Preparation looks like letting go of bitterness so you don't poison the covenant before it begins. Preparation looks like working on your character, your discipline, your stewardship. So when the blessing arrives, you don't sabotage it with bad habits. Some of you think you're waiting on God, but truthfully, God is waiting on you. He's waiting on you to get in position, to put your house in order, to show him that you're not just hoping for it, you're ready to host it. And let me tell you something, preparation is never wasted. Every tear you cried while you were learning patience, every lonely night you spent learning how to love yourself, every season where you had to stand strong in faith, it wasn't wasted. It was God shaping you, molding you, preparing you for a blessing you can carry. You see, unprepared people mishandle prepared blessings. That's why God loves you too much to answer prematurely. He'd rather delay the blessing than watch you destroy it because you weren't ready. But when you prepare, you send a message to heaven. I'm not just asking for it, I'm ready for it. You begin to live like the answer is already on the way. You talk differently. You carry yourself differently. You choose differently. And that's when heaven takes notice. That's when God says, now you're ready. Now I can trust you with what I've been holding back. Now I can release the promise. Let me make it clear. Your preparation is your prophecy. The way you prepare today is proof of what you believe is coming tomorrow. If you're preparing small, you're expecting small. But if you're preparing big, if you're stretching yourself, if you're making room, then you're telling God, I believe something greater is on the way. And God responds to faith in motion. So don't despise this season of preparation. Don't roll your eyes at the process. Don't get frustrated because it feels like nothing is happening. Something is happening. You're becoming. You're being shaped into the kind of person who won't just receive the blessing, but who will know how to honor it, protect it, and multiply it. And when the day finally comes, when the door opens, when the soulmate arrives, when the promise walks into your life, you'll realize that all the preparation was worth it. Because the preparation wasn't just about getting you ready for the blessing. The preparation was the blessing. So lift your head and keep preparing, because your readiness is the evidence that what you've been praying for is closer than you think. So, absolutely, let's expand key point 5 by timing is everything, and God's timing cannot be rushed into a full 650 word segment in that same live flowing style. There is a truth that can set you free tonight if you grab hold of it. Timing is everything. You may have the right promise, the right blessing, even the right soulmate lined up for you, but if it comes at the wrong time, it can become a burden instead of a blessing. You can have the right seed, but if you plant it in the wrong season, it won't grow. You can meet the right person, but if your spirit isn't ready, if their heart isn't healed, if the foundation isn't laid, what could have been a beautiful story becomes unnecessary pain. That's why God is so intentional with time. He knows what you don't. He sees what you can't. And he loves you too much to let you mess up your destiny by rushing into it before the ground is ready. We live in a culture that wants everything instant. Instant love, instant success, instant answers. But God is not microwave. He is a master chef. He cooks your blessings slowly, carefully, until every ingredient is just right. And some of you, you're frustrated right now because it feels like the waiting is too long. You're watching other people post about their relationships, their engagements, their marriages, and you're wondering, Lord, did you forget about me? Did you overlook me? But let me tell you something, the wait is not punishment. The wait is protection. God knows that if he brought them into your life before you were healed, you'd use them as a crutch instead of a partner. He knows that if he opened the door before you were mature enough, you'd slam it shut out of fear. So he waits not to torment you, not to withhold good from you, but to align everything perfectly so when it happens, it lasts. Think about Joseph. He had a dream as a teenager that one day he would lead and his brothers would bow before him. That was the right promise, but the wrong time. If God had elevated Joseph at 17, he didn't have the maturity, the humility, the wisdom to handle the palace. He had to go through betrayal, through prison, through false accusation, through waiting, because the waiting shaped him. And when the timing was finally right, he didn't just step into the blessing, he became the blessing for an entire nation. Some of you are in that in-between place right now. You've heard the promise. You've seen the vision. You know something is coming, but it feels like it's taking too long And the temptation is to try to make it happen yourself. The temptation is to lower your standards, compromise your values, or chase what isn't aligned with your destiny just because you're tired of waiting. Don't do it. Don't let impatience trick you into accepting less than what God prepared for you. Because when the time is right, it will not be forced. When the time is right, you won't have to manipulate. You won't have to beg. You won't have to break yourself to make it work. When it's God's time, things will flow naturally. Doors will open without you pounding on them. Conversations will align without you twisting yourself into knots. Peace will surround you, and you'll know in your spirit, this is it. This is what I've been waiting for. The hardest part is trusting that God's clock is different from yours. You're watching days, months, and years pass by, but God is orchestrating eternity. He's arranging moments you can't even see. He's setting the stage so that when your promise walks in, it feels like destiny, not coincidence. So I need you to shift your mindset. Stop seeing the waiting as wasted time. Waiting is working. While you are waiting, God is preparing them. While you're waiting, God is preparing you. While you're waiting, God is setting up the stage so that when the curtain lifts, your story won't just be about love, it will be about legacy. And when it happens, when God says, now, you won't have to question it. You won't have to doubt it. You'll know because the timing will confirm the promise. So be patient, be steadfast, and be faithful. Because the wait may feel long, but the fulfillment will be worth every second. Timing is everything, and when God's timing meets your preparation, nothing can stop the blessing that's about to break forth in your life. Absolutely. Let's expand key point 6C. Your soulmate is not just about love, but about destiny, into a full 650 word segment written in a natural live delivery style. There's something I need you to understand tonight. The person God is bringing into your life is not just about filling your heart with love, but about aligning your destiny with purpose. Too often we limit relationships to feelings, butterflies, and romance. And yes, those things are beautiful. But when God ordains a union, He is thinking beyond your emotions. He is thinking about your assignment, your calling, your influence, your legacy. The right person is not just someone you love, they are someone who helps you become. You see, God never puts people together by accident. When Adam was alone, God didn't just give him Eve to hold hands with in the garden. He gave him Eve because there was a destiny tied to their union. Together they carried humanity's assignment. Together they carried creation's responsibility. And the same is true for you. The right soulmate is not just about who makes you smile. It's about who strengthens your spirit, who prays with you when the storm hits, who reminds you of who you are when life tries to break you. And that's why God doesn't just give you anybody. That's why you can't just grab the first person who comes along and expect it to work. Because when your destiny is heavy, your partner can't be weak. When your purpose is great, your partner can't be small-minded. When your call is divine, your partner can't just be convenient. They have to be God-sent. Now, hear me. Sometimes we confuse chemistry with calling. Just because you connect with someone doesn't mean they're connected to your destiny. Just because they look right in your eyes doesn't mean they're right for your soul. God is not sending you someone to complete your loneliness. He's sending you someone to complement your assignment. They don't complete you. God already made you whole, but they connect with you in such a way that together you are unstoppable. That's why the wait is so critical, because God is aligning two destinies, not just two hearts. He's weaving together your story with theirs so that when you meet, it's not just attraction, it's acceleration. Things begin to move faster, clearer, stronger, because the person God assigns to your life doesn't just love you, they push you, they challenge you, they lift you when you're weary. They see the vision in you even when you've lost sight of it yourself. And let me tell you something else. Destiny relationships are tested. Don't think that just because God sends them, there won't be storms. In fact, the enemy will fight it even harder because he knows the power of two people who are aligned with heaven. That's why you need more than feelings to sustain it. You need faith. You need prayer. You need commitment. Because love is the spark, but destiny is the fire that keeps it burning. When you finally step into it, you'll see that God's hand has been all over it. The timing, the journey, the lessons, the heartbreaks, it will all make sense, because he wasn't just preparing you for love. He was preparing you for partnership. You weren't just waiting on someone to walk beside you. You were waiting on someone who would help carry the vision. So stop measuring success by whether you're in a relationship right now. Success is not being with someone. Success is being with the right one, because the wrong person will drain your destiny, but the right one will develop it. The wrong one will distract you, but the right one will direct you back to purpose. When God sends your soulmate, you'll realize it was never just about romance. It was about kingdom. It was about purpose. It was about what God can do through two people who are aligned in faith, in vision, and in love. So don't settle. Don't compromise. Don't lower what God has spoken just to fill a temporary gap. Because when your destiny meets their destiny, when your calling meets their calling, when your faith meets their faith, everything shifts. This isn't just about love. It's about legacy. And when it comes, it will be greater than anything you ever imagined. Destiny is calling, and the one God is preparing for you isn't just coming to hold your hand. They're coming to help you walk into everything he promised.